If you are a frequent listener to the podcast, you know that we have been sponsored by Fuji Sports for quite some time now. Whether you're looking for apparel, equipment, bags, or accessories, Fuji Sports has got it covered. Go to Fujisports.com to see the latest selection of everything you need for your jiu-jitsu, judo, or MMA journey. That's Fujisports.com. Let me take a minute to tell you about RŌL TV. If you're looking to take your jiu-jitsu to the next level and supplement your BJJ education, then RŌL TV has you covered. RŌLAcademy.tv has over 1,500 videos covering individual techniques, positions, and concepts, including seminars and workshops with top-level competitors and instructors like Chris Wojcik, Robert Drysdale, Aaron Hurley, Emily Kwok, and more. Whether you are a beginner or more advanced student, RŌL TV is the online platform that can take your jiu-jitsu to the next level. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you do listen. This helps us bring you the great guests and amazing content that you've come to expect. In this conversation, Thomas's guest shares his journey from a challenging upbringing in Brazil to become a successful jiu-jitsu champion. He discusses the importance of competition, the influence of his family, and the lessons learned through sports. He emphasizes the significance of mental health and athletic performance and reflects on the role of failure in personal growth. Here is the RŌL Radio with the head coach at Sanctum Jiu-Jitsu, a two-time ADCC vet and a 2025 Worlds NoGi and Gi champion, Roosevelt Sousa.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we are live. Roosevelt Sousa. Hey, thank you for being here. How are you, Professor?
Oh, good. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure for me. Talking about jiu-jitsu is something that I really enjoy, and I can't wait for this episode.
Good. Awesome. Well, as I was getting ready for this conversation, one of the things that really stood out from right off the bat, and those who follow jiu-jitsu competition, your name is all over there. But I'm wondering, I need to ask you, is why is competition so important to you? You have over 200 matches. You have 150 wins, over 150 wins. I mean, this is clearly important part of your life. Why?
Honestly, I believe when I first had a coach, back then, even before jiu-jitsu, when I was young and I was kind of introduced to sport, because I was raised just like every other kid in Brazil, like climbing trees, getting in trouble, playing soccer, being active. I was playing games, but for me, it was just like uh, my natural way of living. And when I first was introduced to a sport, the first thing that I realized about myself was like, I like to compete. I'm very competitive, like, and that clicked it on my head was when I was like, I wanna be good at it. I wanna be better than this guy. I wanna train as hard as I can because I wanna learn this skill. I wanna go to competition and wanna win. I don't wanna go there just for fun. And another thing also was like being like I was born in a very poor family, and at the same time I realized that if I want to change my life, I'll have to be very good at sports, and being very good at sports requires being very competitive. I realized that very early on in my life. So
How old were you when you realized that?
I was like 16, 15 years old, and I honestly like like I said, I was getting myself in trouble. Anywhere I was born, it was so violent, a lot of crimes going on, but I was raised there, so I didn't see. For me, it was just natural. So I was like I always playing soccer in the streets. I had my mom on top of me. So I always like tried to bring me back home, like don't play soccer in the streets. You're gonna get in trouble. You know, she was seeing things that I didn't see, and she told me like, look, I don't want you outside anymore. You better find a job, or you gotta find something that's gonna give you a future. That's when I found volleyball. You know, like and like honestly, I wasn't planning to become a volleyball player because in Brazil, where I come from my small town, by the way, very beautiful town called João Pessoa. It's around the corner northeast in Brazil, and we had like this club where the government bring kids to practice sports, learn sports for free. And I tried soccer, but they said I was too old for soccer. I tried swimming, but at that day that I went there, they didn't have the coach there, so I couldn't. I was just trying because I had to. By the way, I had to walk like 1 hour to get there, and like I was like, man, I walk 1 hour here. I gotta find something to do. And then I saw the volleyball court. I saw those guys playing. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna try this, and I love it. And like what that's how was my first contact ever with like a sport.
Well,
You know,
so let me ask you this. Your mom tells you, "Hey, listen, you got to do something. You cannot continue getting in trouble. You're in your teens. You're a teenager, and you said you have to walk an hour to get there. I mean, no teenager would do that. I mean, it's so much easier and more fun to get in trouble and hang out with your boys and play soccer, do whatever. But like, what made you walk for an hour to do something that you don't even want to do? Because you just said that the volleyball wasn't it. Like that's not what that wasn't your first choice.
honestly, like when you when you come from where I come from, you already had that survive mode mindset that you don't even care. But actually, I was excited to do something new, sport. Not volleyball at first, but I knew I was going to do something new, and I was excited about it. I never thought about walking 1 hour. Now that I'm here, living in US, I'm 30s, so I think how I did that. I can't do that anymore. I picture myself like, how do I do that? How I did that? No, that's crazy, you know. But is your reality, you know. You just like my I never had a car. I never had like you know, like even money to pay a ticket to get a bus, you know. So for me it was just natural.
Does your mom know that you're doing this? That you're walking an
Oh
hour?
yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah,
what does
my
she
mom,
say about it?
you know, like as long as I was not at street get in trouble because and I think we like I don't want to talk about too much about details because I'm gonna keep talking for like 3 hours here, but like um for her was kind of she was kind of thanking God every day because like all my friends were like either getting shot or going to jail or get in trouble with the police, you know. But
Well,
for me, they were just my friends, so I was just like trying to have fun. I
you,
didn't realize the danger, you know what I mean?
well, let me ask you this. So, do you see the good and bad in all of this at that time when you are 17? Do you see that
No.
these guys are in trouble? Like they go to jail, they get shot, that there's danger, and this is kind of your exit, your escape. Do you see that? Do you realize that?
Yes, but I was just trying to ignore it because um for me like when I see this way when you're born somewhere that you only see till where your eyes can reach, you know. So that
Hmm.
was my environment. So that was kind of natural for me. I didn't see the other side. I didn't see what else the world has to offer for me, you know. So I just like even seeing my friends get in trouble, I was like kind of at the same time like, okay, he got in trouble doing this is stealing or selling drugs. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna get away. Once I had two friends. They were like they grew up together and they snapped each other in front of my mom's house. And
Oh boy.
the my mom's house wall was has like a blood spray on the wall from those two guys. They were raised together, and they kill each other because of drugs. That was one of the moment that I was like, "Oh, I don't want this for my life." But at the same time, I want to play soccer with them. I want to, you know what I mean? But I was so young and so immature that I couldn't separate those things. That's when my mom came and said, "Look, it's I don't want you with these guys anymore. I want you to do something else, because I don't want to have to bury my son one day or go visit you in the
Mhm.
prison, you know."
Well,
And
I got to tell you, I mean, these are big choices for somebody who's
yeah,
17 or 18. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of people, even in good environments, are unable to make choices like this. So, I mean, good for you. And so it happens that you start volleyball and you're actually successful with it, right? You were pretty tall back then, right? I mean, it was like, I was reading 6'3", which is what, like 190, 193, 194 centimeters?
yeah. But like, just back to compliment what you said in the beginning
Yeah.
about the choice. That mostly didn't come from me, come from my mom. I had a very good mom, very good and tough mom. If it wasn't her, I would not be here today,
Well,
by
so
the
so
way.
tell me this: what is the one lesson that you learned from your mom? I'm sure there were
Uh,
many, but what's the
yeah,
one that really is important?
I think the best one is she has her way to say things. My mom is such a smart woman, but she was raised on the farm, doing a lot of labor, like and she has her tough way to say things, and so she always tell me like, you gotta be a man, you gotta be a man, like you gotta be responsible, you gotta take care of yourself, you gotta fight to 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 achieve what you want, but you gotta be honest, you gotta be honest. She always tell me those things, and that stick with me like forever.
Do you find yourself as an honest person now?
Yeah, definitely, definitely, like because like I was also like my mom is a Christian, and like I truly believe that like at least I try to be honest. Like we are humans, we can make mistakes. Like the Bible said that we our nature is sinners. We're sinners. We can, and I think our constantly fight is to be better every day. So that's how I see it. Try to be tomorrow. Today I can do good, but I can fail tomorrow. But I'm gonna watch my steps, because I can judge my neighbor if he does something wrong, because I gotta watch myself and use that as an example. That's how I see it, and that's how those are the lessons that I learned from my mom.
Yeah, those are big ones. That's what makes us good people, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you start
Eh,
volleyball. How is
yeah.
how is
So
your how is your first day on that court? How's your first day? Like, I mean, you're pretty tall at then. Is it easy?
honestly, like when I walked to the court, I saw the net, I saw the coach, and I was like, mm, volleyball is not for me. It's for girls. It's for girls, not for guys. But then I saw like those giant kids coming in, and like they started to warm up, hitting the ball so hard, and I was like, dude, this is pretty tough. And the coach, he saw me. He said, "Yo, what you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I don't know. I'm looking for something to do." So it said Monday 3 p.m. Be here. And I said, "Yes, sir." That's how it started. And yeah, I was a tall kid. I was being the tallest in my neighborhood, and definitely that kind of, like that kind of helped a little bit, um, and has helped me with jiu-jitsu as well. I was blessed with a good genetic, and
Yeah.
that was kind of the beginning of it, and
Is volleyball easy for you?
no at all. I was
Why
pretty
not?
bad. I was pretty bad
Why?
because first I believe, that you volleyball, it's a sport that a lot of sports you have to start since like very, very little,
Mhm.
because the foundations requires a lot of more coordination, a specific more coordination, I have a little bit of myopia on my left eye, so sometimes I missed some important balls, the court, and that like I went a little far. After volleyball, indoor volleyball, I went to beach volleyball, and I
Mm-hmm.
tried to become professional, you know. And but when I was about to kind of become professional or not, that's when I stopped and started training jiu-jitsu, you know, because I couldn't see a few, and you gotta be very sharp for beach volleyball, you know.
So
Beach
was that
volleyball,
a reason? Was your eye the reason why you stopped volleyball, or was there other reasons?
not really the, no, I'm not gonna say the main reason, but everything happened at the same time.
Mm.
So the history is this. Um, I was trying to become indoor player, but then one day this coach, he was kind of doing like a seminar in our club. And I remember I was like struggling myself to show up every day, training, giving my best, and try to become professional. And I was like, Coach, and this coach has a lot of experience with professional players. And I would tell him, Coach, you think I have potential to become a pro player? He's like, yeah, but you're too old already. You have to be taller than that at that age. And I was like, okay. And like I got very upset with that. But then like I heard somebody talking about beach volleyball. You don't need to be too tall to play beach volleyball. And my hometown is known to be like the best place to train beach volleyball in Brazil. And then, but one thing that I didn't know, it's super expensive to play coaches to train beach volleyball out there. So I walk. I remember I walked to the beach and I got there and I was like, I want to train. And those guys like, okay, but like you gotta pay. It's expensive. And I told the coach, look, I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to train. I want to change my life, and like I can get here. I can set up the nets. I can flat the sand because it's a whole preparation to keep the sand flat, and they use like over 100 balls in training sessions. And I will be the guy picking up all the balls that are spread out around the beach and make sure that everything's smooth in on during the other train sessions. So I would get there like they got offer me to be there 5 in the morning for and get the court ready for 6, 7, 8, 9, until like 12. And I'll be there the whole morning watching professional players training every day. And then I would go back home, have lunch, and come back to train afternoon. So that's how I got into beach volleyball.
Do you feel like when you're sitting there and you're watching these pros train and you are essentially just assisting with things, do you feel like this is your dream? That this is something that you want to be?
No, I never dream it of become like a professional player or a champion because I never had that. I never had that at home. Like my father, nobody from my family ever played sports, so I didn't know what that is. I was just like everything was super new for me. But what happened was I had a chance to see Olympic athletes training. I
Yeah.
had a chance to see like this guy training so much and throwing up after training, wiping his mouth, going back and doing extra 1 hour training. I had a chance to see gold Olympic medalists doing like training like a horse, and I was like, dude, I want to be like these guys. I want to do
Wh-
this. This is cool.
What is
Don't,
what is so appealing? Why do you want to be that?
because for me, I feel like I was already there, and I saw like the car those guys used to drive, cool cars.
Mm.
I started to see like the way they dress. I started to see the way they're talking, the way that people talked about them, and I was like, I want to be like those guys, you know, because I didn't have that on my reality in my neighborhood, you know, and I started
Mhm.
to be fascinated about, you know, those little things. But back then for me was like, okay, I want to be like that, you know, because that was a different world for me.
So when you make the decision to leave volleyball and start jiu-jitsu, is that difficult? It appears to me like volleyball is important to you. You really want this. You want this life. You want that. You love the hard work. Like you look up to these people and then you make a choice to not to do that. Is that difficult for you?
Honestly, was very difficult, but then I got rewarded super quick. For example, tell you how I started jiu-jitsu. One day I was, so I was, when I said I was almost becoming professional player,
Mhm.
we always have like the duels training, like one duel against another duel. And one player, for example, got sick, he couldn't make it. I would jump in, I would train with those guys, and I would train with the professional guys, and I would do good with them. But then I never had a sponsor. I had my eye problem, you know, and I was kind of like, man, I feel like this is not gonna happen. This guy, a friend of mine, his name is Ricardo. He's a gold medalist in beach volleyball from Brazil. He used to train, he trains jiu-jitsu as a hobby. He loves martial arts. And we become like a very good friends when we were training, when I was training there. And and one day we were playing and he did like a rear neck choke on me. And somehow I got out and I took him down. And he was obsessed with that for some reason. And I was already 21 years old. And he told me, you should try jiu-jitsu. And like when he told me that, what is that? Jiu-jitsu? I never heard about it. I said, it's a martial arts. You gotta do that. It's gonna help you with the volleyball. It's gonna help you control yourself. It's gonna help you be more, you know, like focused. And I was like, man, I don't know how to fight. I'm not gonna do that. Somehow he convinced me, and he brought me to the gym. I walk in and I saw those like master five, master four, brown, black belts, overweight, you know. And I look at them and say, those guys gonna train with me? I'm gonna beat those guys up. They're not gonna do anything with me. And that's how I got humble at my first class in jiu-jitsu. They put me inside. That's how I was introduced to side control, mount, and submissions, you know. And I left the gym after, and I was like thinking like, I better learn this. I need to learn
All
this.
right, walk
I
me through
felt,
walk me through that match. Walk me through that match. So you obviously think that you can do better. You are younger. You're probably stronger, bigger, probably, right? You start, you slap, bump, whatever, and what happens?
man, first like I was training beach volleyball. I was shred. Like I used to run in the sand like every single day. I used to jump like 4 feet easily. I used to be one of the guys that hit the strongest guys there. When I walked there, you know, that kind of cocky confidence, you know, like, and you see the old guys overweight. The first thing you think, like, they're not gonna do anything with me, you know. But I barely knew anything about jiu-jitsu, you know. And first of all, I was like, I think the first class I learned was like close guard, you know, and I felt a little confident because I had strong legs. I could hold those guys, but then like I couldn't hold for too long. They would pass my guard, mount, and I got to me so many times, you know, and was the one of the best experience I ever had in my life, you know.
So
And
so many people would go home, and many people would say, screw this. Like this is not for me. I just got beat up. I got beat up by old guys. Like many people would say that. But for you is the opposite. For you is like I need to learn this. Why? Why do you feel that way?
I feel because I don't like to feel vulnerable. I don't like to feel, and like I'm very coachable. I feel like I feel like I have this thing on my chest that I don't know how to explain you, but when some life kind of shows me that I can't do something, I somehow for some reason something clicks on me, and I just think like I need to go back there and I need to learn this. You know, it's just like I stink. You know, I don't like to feel like vulnerable. I don't like to feel like I'm bad. I need to learn something. You know, but honestly, for me, on the jiu-jitsu was more like um self-defense thing. Like on that moment, I was like, I better learn this because somebody fight with, I was raised in the hood, so that was my mindset. I was like, somebody catch me in the street, I better learn this to defend myself. That's how my mindset was back then, you know.
Mm.
And like 3 months later, I barely knew any technique. I would do like close guard and a super, like ripping arm bar, like. And I heard this guy's talking about a small competition. And remember, I was training volleyball. I was getting there 5 in the morning, and I would go for my lunch break to train jiu-jitsu and come back to the beach. I was kind of killing myself, but I was loving it. And I heard this guy's talking about jiu-jitsu or a competition, and I was like, white belt, and I was like, can I compete? Asking my coach, I said, I don't know, man. Like, and for some reason, he let me compete. He taught again, and like, yeah, let's do it. Why not? And I won that competition, man. I don't even remember how I did that, but I won.
How did that
And
feel?
I remember getting back home because, like, volleyball, it's a sport where you need your partner, you need your team, but jiu-jitsu, it's all on you. It's only you. If you made a mistake, it's on you. It's crazy. It's you and you. I remember getting back home and I told my mom, look, mom, today I'm quitting volleyball. I'm doing jiu-jitsu. I feel like I found myself. I feel like I belong to this sport. I feel like I'm good at it because I just want a good medal. And I'm tired of volleyball. She thought I was getting crazy because I was like 21 years old and like you've been doing volleyball for so long. She was like, you're gonna become one of those like violent guys that fight at the street. I do want that for you. She got super scared. But I told her, Mom, just trust me, it's different. And then like I went back to my coach. I told him, look, I want to do this. Imagine like at 21 years old, like starting from zero, and I literally told my coach, I want to do this for seriously. I want to quit volleyball. I want to do jiu-jitsu, and I want an opportunity. And I think he is crazier than me. He said, let's do it. You're gonna be a world champion one day. From the day one, he said that as a white belt. Who said that? Who say that today? Nobody.
Mm.
And I, I stopped training volleyball. I was just working there to make some money to help at home. But then I would go home. I would go to the gym to train afternoon and back at night. So then I start to like I would train twice, sometimes 3 times a day, every single day as a white belt. Then I got my blue belt. I went to and I kept training and I got very lucky because I I was training. They allowed me to train with like black belts, brown belts back then. When you here in US, we have a beginners class. In Brazil, it's everything mixed, right? But
Mm.
sometimes they don't. They only allow you to train with like same level belts, like yeah, white with white, blue with blue. But they let me train with the black, and that make me kind of learn a lot. And as a white belt, Trust me, I was tapping out a few black belts already because I was very strong. I had a lot of physicality, and that helped me build up a lot of confidence.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I think that actually helped me like improve a lot. So I got my blue belt, and I was like, I want to go. I'm gonna start traveling to compete, and but I have no money. I have no money. I was just the money that I made on the beach was just enough to help my mom a little bit, support at home. I have money too. For example, like we do here. For example, I live in Florida and go to Worlds in California. That would be impossible. And I
What
start
does
to.
your mom think about all of this?
She was super happy because she saw that she started to see the difference on me. I become more like serious, more self-composed, because I was trying to apply everything I was learning from the black belts, and they're like talking about respect, hierarchy, those values of jiu-jitsu we learn. And she starts seeing that the difference, and she loved it to see how much I love that sport, how many hours I was putting on the mat, and she was super grateful. When I got my blue belt, I lost my father, and my father was kind of, we didn't have a tight relationship. We had a very rough relationship, and when I was introduced to my professor in jiu-jitsu, he kind of taught me a lot of things, a lot of values that I never learned from my dad. So that can be one thing as well that made my mom feel like, okay, my son is safe, is fine,
Do
you
you
know,
did your professor play like a father figure to you?
a little bit. Yeah, I can affirm that. Yeah, definitely. Because he was a great professor, by the way, I was very matured, and he was very tough with me, because I realized for example, I was shy. I was not like a gentleman. So he taught me all of that, like how to walk in a room and say hi to everybody, for example. He taught me those stuff. I was never a person like that, you know, and I'm very grateful for that. He taught me how to teach. I'll never think about teaching something to somebody back then, and one day I was like, when I lost my dad, my father, I was kind of, oh man, what am I gonna do now? I have to stop training jiu-jitsu because now it's me, my mom, and my sister. I'm the man of the house. It's not fair with my mom. I need to find a job. But then my professor, he told me, look, no, you gonna help me with the classes. Gonna be the coach, assistant, and I'm taking a vacation right now. I'm gonna be out for a month, and you stay. And I was like, coach, but I don't know how to teach. I'm super shy. They said, figure out. I stayed teaching for 1 month. When man, I was nervous, but I was very excited with the opportunity.
Tell me about the first class you taught. First of all, are you still a blue belt or are you higher rank now?
I'm black belt.
No, not right now. At
Oh,
that
sorry,
time.
sorry,
At that
sorry.
time. At
Yeah,
that time.
blue
When
belt.
you're teaching
Blue
the
belt.
first class, you're blue belt. Okay.
Blue belt.
You're standing in front of that class.
Yes. So, first of all, I couldn't speak. I was just like, I couldn't make eye contact with nobody. I was like so shy, so nervous, and I was like, okay, guys, let's go. Started the warm up, and I'll do the warm up to kill everybody like a crazy because that's how I knew from the competition training. But somehow they love it, and I will teach those crazy techniques like how to do a straight full lock, like for all the white belts, but they love it, you know. But then, like uh, they students, like they had such a um good relationship with me. They would give me good feedbacks, and they saw how much effort I was putting in the class, and they start to kind of. I was being, like I said, I was being a very coachable person, and I learned a lot from that. People giving feedback. Okay, they're gonna do better now. And I started, I was learning by by the time that I was doing it. And it's funny because when he got back, we had more people train with us. We had people that has just joined the gym, you know, and that's how I learned how to teach.
Where do you think you would be if that month didn't happen?
I think about that all the time. uh,
Like
I always
your
catch.
professor doesn't go on vacation. He just doesn't, whatever, for whatever reason. You don't have, you're still there, but you don't have that opportunity.
Honestly, I don't know what I would be today, but I don't know, man. I don't know because like Jiu-Jitsu has teach me lessons like every single day, even being a black belt today, and like I believe like Jiu-Jitsu teach you a way of you start seeing yourself. It's just like a mirror in front of your face, every day that shows you where you need to work on,
Mhm.
things that you hide from everybody, things that you think sometimes you ignore, but it's there, you know. And I've learned how to deal with that, because I truly believe it's because of Jiu-Jitsu, because people from Jiu-Jitsu that got put in my way. And without that, I don't know where else I would be doing for my life, honestly.
Well, I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
Things happen. Do you believe things happen for a reason? Do you think
Yes.
that this was meant to be? That was written somewhere? Somebody had that plan for you?
I believe that everybody has choice. We have choice. We can make good choice or bad choice for our life. You know, I believe like everybody has not everybody has opportunities, but we can make choice that can lead us to where we are made to be, you know. And if you make the right choice, that at the moment may not look the funniest or the coolest, but like sometimes the path looks tight, looks harder, looks longer, but eventually it's gonna lead me to something better. I truly believe that, and we are made to have our own path.
Do you believe like your life is where you want it to be?
Yes, yes. I mean, where I wanted to be when I was at that Roosevelt, 21 years old, yes. But as you get old, and for example, like when I first moved here to US, 2019, 2019, yeah. And I remember going to a supermarket, Walmart, and putting buying whatever I wanted for, for groceries. Like, oh, I want this, I want that. Just put it in the cart without worrying about how much money I would spend with it. I told with myself, I made it. I've made it. I can buy whatever I want now. I can buy a lot of groceries. Because in Brazil, that was like impossible, man. Like I would have lunch today. I would like rice and eggs without. I would not even know where I would if I would have food for the next day. So for me, that was it. Oh, I'm good right now. But like a few years later now, you know, I have a roof above my head. I have I drive a nice car. I have a wife. I don't have to worry about like things that I used to. I feel like I still haven't made it, because not, I realize that it's not only about material things. It's about like um legacy. What I want to represent, how I want to impact people's life. Like that's my goal right now. You know, I since I become a coach, I become a professional as well. You know, and that goes also for um, when I won my first world title, and I thought that was it. But then in the podium, I got the medal, and I look at it. I was happy for like 10 minutes, but then I look at it, and I was like, it's just a piece of metal. Like, that cannot be all about this. That, you know what I mean? And then like I was so depressed after. Like, I was
But then,
so disappointed.
let me ask you this then why do we chase these things? Why do we want the car? Why do we want the house? Why do we want the gold medal? Like, why do we want this if it's really not about that?
I think we always chase things that we don't have, and we think we need to have those things, and for some reason, uh, I believe like humans, they have to have something to go after. You know, that's how we driven. That's how we found motivation. That's how we, you know, and that's very
Do tell
sad
me,
that
how
we're
did
looking
becoming
for,
a father
you know, like
changed your
things,
jiu-jitsu, or how did it change you being an
material
instructor?
things, you know. But when you already
It
have
definitely
that,
changed me
when
as
you
a
have a
coach and as a
kid,
business
you
owner
know, like
because I just
you
got
realize
separated.
that, you know, like
I
you
used to be,
realize that it's
it's
not
crazy,
all
man. I
about
used to
it, you
be,
know,
they used
but
to call me the slave
you
driver,
only
my
realize that
fighters.
when
That was
you're
my
being through
nickname.
this
And
process,
I
you
don't know
know.
if I could ever go back to that. Like,
Some
Do
people
you feel
not,
like
some
and I
people,
understand and
but
I
when it
remember
was
it.
like that,
And I
you
was
know,
like, I was
do
just
you
trying to
feel
help
like that
them
we
get to
have to go
that
through
point where
hardship
they
and
But
can
we
what
have
make
to
has
it. And
changed?
if
fail?
I
We
wasn't
have to.
pushing
What
them
has
hard,
changed
Our life
besides
needs to
this
be hard
other
in
human
order
being,
for
or
us to
you have few
appreciate
kids, but
these good things that
besides
we
these
get in
human beings
life.
arriving to the
absolutely,
earth, really
you know,
fundamentally,
I
yeah,
really
feel like
nothing much
fail is the best
changed,
teacher
right?
ever,
Yet
you
everything
know,
has changed.
ever. Like,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
fail is it hurts,
I never had
but
a
it's not a
soft,
bad thing
really
at
soft
all.
side. And then
I
when
am
these
where I am
little
today
creatures were
because of
born, and
my
you got
failure.
to take care of their
You know,
every,
like
you and your wife, obviously,
um
we take care of their
this year
every,
I was able
everything they
to
need,
win a lot of
every
gold
need that they
medals,
have, we had to take care of. And then they
but
become little
last
talking
three
creatures,
years
and then they're telling you they
I've
love
been
you, and they're
losing,
hugging you, and they're kissing
only
you, and you're like, you just
losing,
melt.
and
And that kind of spills over every other area of your life,
I was kind of thinking every
and I
day
believe
about
that's the
stopping
way
fighting.
God
I was
you know,
thinking
meant
about
for it to
quitting. I
be.
was
Is
thinking about become
he
a
wanted us to
firefighter.
understand his
I was
love
like,
for
I was
Jesus.
Why
about
didn't
to,
you?
So he made us parents so that we
when I
realize,
was
holy
about
crap, there
to
is this
do
unbelievable love that you can have. Because if
when I
you're
was
not a
about to
parent,
apply to
you
become
could say,
for the
I love my
firefighter
dog, I love
school,
my nephew, but you have no
was
clue what love
right
is until you
before
birth your child,
Worlds
and you're there, and you watch
last year,
this creature grow and
and I was
nurture it.
like, I should
And
have
then you
mind.
finally are
He
like,
was
oh,
going
I
to
get it. What
compete,
everybody said, oh, you've never loved
and he
anything like
asked
you
me
love
to
your
go with
kids.
him
And
to
then so
coach
once you
him,
get it,
and I was
it
like, I
can't
had
help
this
but spill to
moment,
other
and I
areas.
truly
Now,
believe
anybody
that was
you
God
associate
talking to
with,
me.
you have so much love
But
to give now, and so much,
I'm gonna go there,
you didn't even
you
realize you were
know, and I'm
capable
gonna
of it.
coach, you know, and that's it.
So yeah, it definitely
But
spills
then,
over. It spilled over for me as a
you know, like
coach,
when you kind of speak
with the
with yourself,
ability to, I just
and
got
then
softer.
your
I
subconscious,
gave
like
more leeway. I
you
gave
So is that
more,
a good thing, or
more
is
always
that a
empathy.
dream
good
to
thing,
be there.
or
How
not
now
really? I
you
mean, from
go
one
in
side
there
you say
without worrying
you were
with
tougher on
the
guys, which means
ticket,
there's less
because
leeway. There's
you know, like
probably more responsibility, more accountability in a sense.
before,
And
Oh
now
yeah,
and
you
that's how I
say
yeah.
got
that
here to the
you have more
US.
empathy, which is
I
very
had to
important
sell
from a
bottles
leadership
of
perspective
water
too, right?
the street to buy my
Yeah,
flight ticket
I
here. So
think it's good
that was always
because
being my
I think
dream
if you
to go there.
slay,
But then
one
when I
way
become a
more
black
than the
belt
other,
and start
like if
competing
I
a
just
lot,
went
I
slave
kind of
driver with no
lose it,
empathy, I
that
don't think you're
driven,
the best coach you
the
could be. And if I
fire.
was just lenient and, oh yeah, show up to
And
practice when you want and do this when
beginning
you
of
want, and
last
yeah, you'll
year,
be fine.
when my student told me like, "Oh,
Oh, I
come," I was
understand. I
like,
understand. If you have too much of that,
so
then I
for
think
some reason
also
I
you're
was
kind of
thinking
screwed as
about
well.
like,
So
man, I'm so
I think that
grateful.
nice balance,
I
I think that's
always
what it's
wanted
done
to
for
be
me,
in
is balance me out a
in
little bit,
California competing
which is what I
worlds.
needed. If
And
you
now
ask my
that I
wife or
have
anybody
money
that
to buy my
is close to
ticket,
me and my
I
family,
can
my
just pay
mom,
my registration.
brothers, sisters,
I'm
they
not
would
going
say
to
that was a
compete because I'm
good
scared of
balance
You were
now.
losing.
that tough,
Who
huh?
cares? I'm just gonna be there. And then like for some reason I was like, man, I'm so grateful to be here. And being grateful, right? It's gonna be my the feeling that is gonna motivate me to be there, to competing. So I put my name on the registration. I was barely training. I was training with my white belts, blue belts. And then I got there and I was so excited to be there. And I had one match. And I was like, okay, let's go. I won the first match. And cool, cool. I went to the second match. I won the second match. I made for the next day. Same fight. I never have done this before. Every time I fought Worlds, I would lose in the first match or the second match. Next day, semifinals, I should meet the guy. And for some reason, I was like, I'm gonna win that shit. I'm gonna win. Like the only explanation of this is because I think God has something for me. And for some reason, I was like so motivated, so confident, so happy to be there, you know. And I went to the final and I won. And if you see the video, I was showing that moment there. I was not even thinking about the outcome, the medal, or none of that. I was just happy to be there. And when he raised my hand, I made no reaction. I was just like, yes, I made it. You know,
What goes through your mind? Your hand goes up. This is it.
I was so focused on the mat, you know, because on the moment since I wasn't training as much, I was like, okay, I'm not that good physically right now, so I gotta fight very smart. So I was so focused that my mind was still on the fight. I was like, okay, I won, I made it. Okay, he raised my hand, I walk out like like I
When
just let.
when does it sink in? At which point you are thinking to yourself, "Wow, I'm a black belt world champion."
You know, like every time something good that like that happened in my life, I always go back to Brazil. I was thinking about Brazil, and I bring out those. I remember when I was young and doing everything I was doing to all the sacrifice, you know, my mom made, my family, and I was like, that was worthy. That was worthy. You know, that everything I've done to get here was worthy. I made it. And not because of the medal anymore, but to prove myself that I can do whatever I want as long
Did
as
you
I
tell your
work
mom?
for it. Yeah, yeah, she was
What?
crying. She was
Tell me what happened.
like, like she was watching my fight, so when I called her, she was crying already. And for my mom, you know, it's kind of, you know, mom thing. They always say that I knew it, you'd do that one day, you know. For some reason, she said that. I knew it. I knew it. Like you always like, you know, because she knows that how much work I put on my journey to
Is it
today, you know.
is it almost funny how years before that your mom tells you, "Don't do it. This is a bad choice. You should do volleyball. You've put so much time. You're going to be fighting and all that stuff." And then years later, you are the world champion. And your mom tells you, "I knew you would achieve this." Like she believed in you way deeper than anybody else. It probably deeper than you have.
Yes, definitely. I think when I started, she was kind of just like trying to protect me
Yeah.
because she didn't know about
She
the
was
sport.
mom. She was a
Yeah,
mom.
just being a mom.
Yeah.
But and also because she knew that the potential I had, and she didn't want me to waste my potential with something that could not be like a career or a future for me. But then when she started seeing the progress, like how happy I was doing what I was doing, she was like, okay, I'm gonna let you doing this. Just do it. Just do it. Keep doing, you know. And I'm like, you know, like my mom is like she everything that she taught me, I carry with me today, you know, like even made like my 30s, like 33, gonna be 33 in March, you know, like I'm very grateful because my mom, she's such a simple person. She never went to school. She never had somebody to teach her. But she's very wise, and she's very life wise. She knows things about life,
Mm-hmm.
and she showed me more of life the way she was dealing with it. You know, we were raised in a super poor family, but she always make sure that we would have a food at least like the basics, you know. She would make sure that even with a tough relationship with my dad, she would never leave him to make sure that we have a male figure at home, you know. with all those like things that she becomes like my hero, my whole modern life, you know. And I was like, I'm very grateful for her.
It's clear that you have a lot of success with hard work, hard work, hard work ethic, grit. You push forward. You get things that you want. But there is also some losses. Things didn't always go according to plan. And do you know how many fights you won overall? Like, do you have a number?
No,
Do you
I
know how
know they
many
have
fights you lost?
no, but I know it was more. I think as a black belt at least, I think I have more victories than defeats. But
So
yeah,
I looked on BJJ Heroes, which they keep track. I don't know how accurate this is, but they say that you have 150 wins and 29 losses. That's a big difference.
that's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Now here's the question. Which loss was the most important to you? Is there one that you feel that you remember to this point, like it happened yesterday, and there either was a good lesson or maybe it stung a little bit? The one that you remember.
Yeah, I have two that like was in right after when I won 2023 Worlds NoGi, my first Worlds ever as a black belt. I was invited for two super fights, that at the moment I thought that would take off my career. Was against Luke Griffin,
Mm-hmm.
and I got submitted. Like I couldn't perform. I was so nervous to be there. I couldn't perform. And it was my first time ever at WNO. And the second one was against Victor Hugo. I also got submitted PI UFC fighting, BJJ fight, and I couldn't fight as well. You know, I was
Why?
going back. I was going through a lot of turbulence. Mentally. I was like kind of after, like I said, after Worlds NoGi, I was like very disappointed because I couldn't see like I created a lot of expectations and I got a little depressed. And when I was kind of recovering myself, like trying to absorb this, I don't really want to call it a depression, but I was kind of very tough moment that I was trying to figure out. I couldn't focus. I couldn't focus to fighting. I couldn't focus to training. But then I had received those opportunities, to fight those guys, those big names, and I was just not there. I couldn't compete. I couldn't perform. I wasn't ready mentally. But those two, like, was very hurtful for me, because
How do you deal
now,
with this? I think like jujitsu we talked about this. Jujitsu is almost like a life lesson, like a mirror. You look back and you exposes every little thing in your life. And sometimes it exposes things that we don't do well. And
yeah,
many people at that moment when things don't go well, they quit. They simply
yeah.
go, they hang it up and go. And you even said to yourself, there were moments where you wanted to stop doing this. How do you recover from this? I mean, you're clearly doing it still. You're here, you're talking to me, so things changed. How do you get out of this? How do you get out of this mode?
Well, um, Jiu-Jitsu has this culture of teaching you toughness as well. You gotta be tough. Don't tap. Be strong. No, you're tired. It's okay. Let's go. Keep pushing. You know. And I had a lot of this mentality of like, okay, I feel weak. I feel um confident, not with a lack of confidence. I don't, you know, I don't feel like myself. It's okay. Figure out. You know, go over it. You know, but it took me a long time to understand that I was good at the moment because that didn't let me quit jiu-jitsu. I would come back training again and try to get better. But I was stuck on this cycle of like not feeling confident, but oh, keep going, keep going. But later on, actually last year, I found a therapist that she helped me understand that, and understand how important it is to talk about the way you're feeling, to a professional. And us as athletes, black belts, sometimes we don't know how to do that very well. And she helped me a lot to kind of deal with my thoughts, organize my mindset to, like, and now, like, thanks God, like, like, it's been, uh, you see the results, like, I had a great year. I won Worlds NoGi, Pan Arms NoGi, a double gold, like, results that I never had before, because like as an athlete, you only focus on your body, on your physicality, but you're never looking into your emotions, your mindset, what you need to work on, psychologically. And it's like the same way you train your body, it's like a discipline. You gotta also keep working your mindset, because we deal with a lot of pressure, add this, and that goes for everybody. That is not only for competitors, like that happens with everybody, And I think that definitely was a big like decision that I made to be able to open with a professional, and it definitely changed the whole picture. Now I'm confident, you know, I'm smart. I know I have learned how to get focused. I had a misconception what focus is. I know, it's just gonna be focused. No, it's not like that. It's something that you train every day. You know, I started to understand myself more and identify triggers, things that trigger me and bring me down. And I learned how to anchor my mind and give myself positive affirmations. You know, I learned how to talk when and be honest with myself, you know, and not just like, obviously that is moment that you gotta still be tough and just like suck it in, but you cannot just ignore things. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Oh no, absolutely. This is deep. I mean, this is what a
Yeah,
lot of people ignore.
yeah,
I mean, you are a professional athlete, but a lot of people who are just hobbyists, they just
yeah,
train. And sometimes life is not easy. Most of the time, life is not easy. It's rough with a family, work, or even training. Sometimes we just suck. We show up and we get beat up.
yeah, yeah.
And understanding how do we deal with it in our head is so, so important.
No, definitely important, especially nowadays that we have social media, and I believe that it's not healthy at all. I always catch myself scrolling my phone for
Hmm.
hours, wasting my time comparing, like getting distracted. Distractions. I think is the biggest enemy that is steal our time. You know, and we have to be very careful with that. And mental health is a big thing, and I think like I truly believe like fighting at the level that I am right now, it's 80% mental. 80% is mental. The 20% is physical.
Well, good for
I
you. I think a
Yeah,
lot of people underestimate this. I think a lot of
yeah.
people ignore this.
Some
And it's
people, like a lot of people, they are very confident. I know people that are like super confident. They can compete without training for like 1 month, and they still gonna do it. But a lot of people need to hear that. You know, that you have to looking for help if you need to talk to somebody. That's not weakness, you know. It's actually the opposite. You gotta be very strong to talk about it.
well, just acknowledging to yourself,
Exactly.
just admitting that this
Exactly.
is my weakness. I need to work on this. Like that's
Exactly.
big,
And
right? That
this is the hardest. This is the most important. Admitting to yourself is the hardest because sometimes we don't want to accept it, and
hmm
like or we have this misconception of thinking like, oh, this is like a I don't know, like if it has something related with the psychological side, you feel like negative about it. You feel like less than somebody else because of that. No, it's something that's fixable. People are not the same. Every word, every head has a different word, a different perspective of word, and you gotta understand your word, what's going on in here. You know, um,
Yeah.
especially as an athlete, because we deal with a lot of pressure, that we put in ourselves, and that consumes a lot of mental energy. Man, when I learned this term, mental energy, I didn't understand what that means, but until I understand that to be able to focus in a high level competition, you have to use mental energy as a gas, as a fuel. You know, if you waste your time distracted or nervous or think about what's gonna happen after your fight or what can happen wrong, you're just gonna consume your mental energy. Your mental energy has to be fresh before a competition, before a training practice, before you walk into a meeting room, when you're about to make a business decision, when you have a test at school, uh, you have to conserve your mental energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so important. And so many ignore this. So
Yeah,
many ignore this. Look, we've been at this for almost an hour, but what I want to ask you before we finish this conversation is, where do you think you would be if you never went to the volleyball place? I'm not talking about jiu-jitsu. I'm talking about volleyball. Excuse me. I feel like this is where the competitive Roosevelt started. I feel like where this is the drive to want more started. Like this is where the hunger started. What would happen if your mom told you, no, you can't go? It's too far. What happened if your friends convince you, Roosevelt, don't go. Come on, hang out with us. We're going to play ball. What would happen if you said an hour? That's way too far. I'm not walking that far. What would happen then? Where would you be?
man, I don't know where I would be without those lessons that I learned through sport, through struggling, through training, I don't know. I think I would be like 500 pounds with like 5 kids, divorce, broke, you know. I don't know, because that was the reality where I come from, or maybe jail. I don't know. The only thing I can only see, like, not be successful, you know.
What is the biggest lesson that you learned in life? Whether from your mom or from the failures, from jiu-jitsu or maybe a volleyball. But what is the one biggest one?
Time, it's our more important currency in this world we live right now. If you invest your time on things that's gonna make your life better, you know, if you put time on something that you believe, you know, if if you put time on working, taking care of yourself, if you put time on your family, there's no way that can go wrong. There's no way. But if you waste your time with something that's not gonna change your life, you're gonna fail, and you're not gonna reach. You're just gonna push yourself away from where you're supposed to be. You know, time, it's important. I have a tattoo on my biceps here. It's a same clock. Like, time is like very important. I work every day to manage my time very well, and for me it's hard. It's hard, you know.
Mhm.
But time is important. Time is the most valuable thing in this world we live right now.
Well, that's a big lesson. And I think, again, many ignore that and we get distracted, especially today with so many stupid things. It's ridiculous. But I'm
Yeah.
glad you recognize this. Look, as we continue, as we wrapping this up, is your mom proud of you?
She is. She's my, oh my God. My mom is the best. She's my biggest fan. Like,
Is she in Brazil or she's here in the US with you?
she wants Brazil. She's in
She's Brazil.
Brazil. This year I'm working to bring her here.
Good for you.
Oh yeah,
Good for
thank
you.
you. Thank
Good
you.
for you.
Thank you.
I hope that comes true, because I think that will be a truly the most amazing thing if
Yeah.
she could see in person the
Oh
things
yeah,
that you have done and you have achieved. That's
definitely.
amazing.
That's gonna be one of the best days of my life. Definitely.
I'm
I'm
sure.
working hard for this.
Good for you. I hope it
Thank
comes.
you. Thank you.
If anybody wants to connect with you, they listen to this conversation and they say, Professor, you inspire me. I mean, you're this is amazing. I would like to change my life. I would like to do something. How can they connect with you? Where are you available?
I'm in Miami, Florida. I train at Five Sports Miami, and I teach at Sanctum Jiu-Jitsu. Or you guys can reach out to me online through my Instagram, Roosevelt BJJ. Right, just DM there, and we can connect. And that's it.
Amazing. And I'll make sure that all the links are in the show notes of this episode, as I always do. If you guys want to connect with Professor, that would be, a great resource and a great story and such an amazing motivator for all
Thank
of
you.
us. Professor, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. Such a deep conversation we had today. And I really appreciate you just being open about your life and sharing some of those life stories, because so many things we can learn from each other. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for allowing myself to speak and talk about jiu-jitsu. I hope we have impact at least one person in this podcast. I'll be more than happy. Thank you. I hope we can do this in another time, and I can bring more cool histories, and we can inspire more people.
I love it. I love it. Let's wrap it up for today.
Thank
you
you.
for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.